Since it was founded in 1886, computer animation studio Pixar has become a household name for animated movies and has gained huge amounts of critical and commercial success. In January of 2006, the company was bought by Disney in a $7.4 billion deal. The company is known for some of the greatest ever animated films, including Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., and Cars. But what are the worst movies produced by the studio? Let's look at the 10 worst, according to IMDB. 10. Monsters University, a prequel to Monsters, Inc. Monsters University follows a young Mike Wazowski as he achieves his dream of attending Monster University's illustrious scare program and graduate to become a scarer. In the film, he gets rejected from the program because he doesn't look scary enough. He sets about proving the university wrong, joining a fraternity with Sully and some other aspiring scarers in the hopes of winning the Scare Games, a tournament held by the university. Despite a strong message about achieving your goals, the film succumbs to college movie cliches, stern deans, bully frat houses, and losers. It struggles to be inventive or wholly original. However, that's not to say Monsters University is a bad movie. It's not. It was released to public acclaim in 2013 and was enjoyed by many. Furthermore, an IMDb score of 7.3 is extremely respectable. The film really only makes this list as there are so many great Pixar films, including the previous one in this franchise, Monsters, Inc. 9. Finding Dory. Similarly to Monsters University, Finding Dory is another Pixar sequel that could perhaps be seen as unnecessary and struggles when held up to its predecessor. The plot of the movie sees Dory, Nemo, and Marlin travel to California in search of Dory's family. She ends up being captured by scientists at the Marine Life Institute and has to team up with an octopus who agrees to help her find her parents. Ellen DeGeneres is still funny as Dory, but the fish struggles to grow as a character due to her memory loss. While this made her an excellent side character, it doesn't quite work when she's the focus of the movie. Because of how static she is, the film is just her floating from one event to the next, which can at times be tedious. Again, this isn't a bad movie. With the same IMDb score as Monsters University, 7.3, it is rated by many people. Its problem is that it's just not Finding Nemo. 8. A Bug's Life. The first movie on this list, made before the Disney takeover, 1998's A Bug's Life, is a classic. When a group of bully grasshoppers take over an ant colony, Flick and other ants look for other bugs to help them overthrow their leaders. The film is aided by memorable characters and an intimidating villain played by Kevin Spacey, which helps A Bug's Life become a good film. However, it came out between the first two Toy Story movies and only 6 weeks apart from DreamWorks' rival bug movie, Ants. As a result, A Bug's Life became known as a bit of a slump for Pixar, despite for many being known as a classic. It has a score of 7.2 on IMDb. 7. Cars. Another classic, and a film that is adored by many. Cars comes in with a 7.2 on IMDb. It features the famous Owen Wilson-voiced protagonist, Lightning McQueen, who is set to become the youngest race car to win the coveted Piston Cup. However, his journey is derailed after a crash, as he is forced to help out a town in the middle of nowhere. As a result, he learns that there is more to life than glory. The story of an arrogant protagonist who needs to learn humility has been done so many times before, and Cars does little to deviate from that formula. It's still an okay film, but again, it doesn't quite stack up to Pixar's best. 6. Brave. Despite winning the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, Brave isn't considered one of Pixar's best films. Set in Scotland, in a rugged and mythical time, the movie features Princess Merida, an aspiring archer and daughter of Queen Eleanor. A reckless choice from Merida unleashes peril and forces her to spring into action. It's a story about communication between mothers and daughters, as well as the insistence of choosing your own fate. It has a good soundtrack, and the animation is amazing, as always. However, the story eventually gets pulled in too many different directions, and it suffers as a result. 5. Turning Red. One of two 2022 Pixar films, Turning Red focuses on 13-year-old Mei Lee, who finds herself torn between pleasing her mother and indulging in her hobbies, which include her pop band. To make matters worse, when Mei Lee's emotions get the better of her, she turns into a bright red panda. There was actually some controversy surrounding the film, as perhaps the movie's biggest metaphor is about puberty and teen girls having their first period. The panda itself is a symbol of puberty. Her mother, Ming, mistakes her first transformation as her first period, and the awkwardness that Mei feels while trying to hide her secret translates to the awkwardness many girls feel about their first period, too. The movie's title, too, is a reference to puberty. It's very well done, but the film falls short in other areas, as at times it feels inconsistent, shifting from family drama to cartoonish over-exaggeration. Turning Red has a 7 on IMDB. 4. The Good Dinosaur. 2015's The Good Dinosaur was one of Pixar's first box office bombs. The film focused on a world where dinosaurs never went extinct. After refusing to kill a feral cave boy, Arlo, the Apatosaurus, is led by his father to track it down. However, his father then dies in a flash flood that washes Arlo from home. He teams up with the cave boy, Spot, and tries to get home and conquer his fears. Overall, the story, as well as the movie's world building, are relatively weak. It's essentially the boy and his dog trope that we've seen hundreds of times. The Good Dinosaur has a 6.7 score on IMDb. 3. Cars 3. The second Cars movie on this list, Cars 3, offers an interesting perspective on how older athletes and the general older population is faded out by the new generation and how they struggle to accept their increasing age. This is shown when Lightning McQueen, when racing against newer, faster cars, suffers a crash that put his career in jeopardy. He decides to try again, using a training course and personal trainer provided by his new sponsors. However, if he doesn't win this next race, the sponsors will force him to retire. It's an interesting story, but it struggles to stay on track, particularly in the second act, and the film has some of Pixar's weakest villains. Cars 3 has a 6.7 score on IMDb. 2. Cars 2. Cars 2 being on this list means that every film in the Cars franchise makes up Pixar's top 10 worst films list, and it's much worse than the other two. In the film, Lightning McQueen joins a World Grand Prix to promote an eco-friendly fuel source. Mater goes with him, but bumps into British secret agents. They mistake him for an American spy and recruit his help to stop an evil organization from sabotaging the race. You know Cars 2 was a bad film, as Cars 3 pretends it never happened. It was an odd choice to change from the film's first mature themes about humility and dive into a vehicular film about espionage. Cars 2 is not good, with a 6.2 score on IMDb. Number 1. Lightyear. That's right, Pixar's latest film. The recent Buzz Lightyear movie starring Chris Evans is the worst-rated Pixar movie, sitting at 5.8 on IMDb. In the movie, Buzz Lightyear crashes a colony ship, stranding the occupants. He volunteers to test a new one, but he keeps jumping forward in time every time he does. By the time he gets it right, everyone he knows is dead, and new threats have appeared to stop him from completing his mission, including Zerd, his famous enemy. Alongside Chris Evans, other A-listers, such as Taika Waititi, Keke Palmer, and James Brolin, also feature in the film. Supposedly, the movie had a budget of $200 million. Supposedly, Lightyear is supposed to be the movie that inspires Andy to get his own Buzz Lightyear toy that we first see in the original Toy Story. However, the movie lacks any of the fun space adventures that are hinted at in Toy Story, and even retcons some of the others mentioned in the earlier films. Overall, Lightyear is probably the most pointless Pixar film to date. Sadly, the film came under fire for some people who weren't happy with the movie portraying a same-sex couple. Chris Evans spoke about the controversy and said, "The real truth is those people are idiots." Sadly, that's all we've got time for. What do you make of this list? Do you agree with it or not? Let us know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and share it with your friends. As always, thanks so much for watching.